What's up techies, I've got Neewer's AFI 3-axis handheld gimbal stabilizer. This is going to be for your DSLRs and also mirrorless cameras. While testing this gimbal out, I used my Lumix FZ300 and it works great with that camera. It's a lightweight camera, it doesn't add much weight at all. I also used the new Sony a6500 with my Sigma lens and that was too heavy. However, with my zoom Sony lens, this was a really good match for it because that zoom lens is really shaky, and I'll show you that kind of footage at the end of the video. I have a comparison between with and without the gimbal. But for the most part, this video is about how to set this thing up and some tips and tricks to get you going. First of all, you're going to want to charge the battery, and you're going to do that by untwisting the bottom cap, and that's going to be your battery compartment. Get that charging, and then we can start setting up everything else. There's an adapter plate that you might have to use just depending on your camera setup. Basically, that adapter is going to help add some weight and also extend the camera in different directions, all depending on the needs of your camera setup. When I tried to use my Sigma lens, I needed to add that adapter because it needed the length and also the extra weight on that end of the camera. Because the camera was really light compared to the lens, I needed to counter the weight between the camera and the lens. But when I used the lens that's in this video, which is a zoom lens made by Sony, I didn't need to use that adapter because the camera and the lens are lightweight. So next you're going to want to put on the plate adjustment, and that's going to be really easy. You can use the included screwdriver to get that done. It works just like a tripod mount. Get that mounted on the camera and then you can slide it right onto the respective spot for the gimbal plate. And this is going to be the first thing that you can start to balance. Basically hold one axis with one hand and see if it teeter-totters left or right, and make the adjustments as needed. All you gotta do is loosen the red knob and move the plate backwards or forwards depending on what your weight balance is needed. After that, start to work on each individual axis. The trick is that you want to hold one end and see if it teeter-totters in one direction or the other. And you make those adjustments by loosening the red knobs, and then you can pull the arms out to an extent. Use the little knobs to help kind of pull it out if you need to. If you need to put it back in, just push against that and that will help get that going. One of my gripes about this is that it's really stiff and hard to kind of get that going at times. So if you need to make a really small minor adjustment, you might make an overcorrection because you're trying to use too much strength on that part. So again, basically you work on each axis, making sure that it's all balanced, and once you get it all correct, the gimbal itself should have the camera level and balanced. So let's say that your batteries are all charged up, just put it back into the battery compartment, twist back on the cap, and then we can talk about the controls for just a minute. First of all, the power button is located beneath the joystick. It looks like an LED light, but it's also a button, and that kind of got tricky for me. At first I thought it was the button right by the plate. That is not a fact. The button by the plate is actually a setup button, and there's really not much that you need to mess with that. The controls that you really need to be concerned about is the joystick and also the power button. The power button, once you press it, you'll hear it kind of turn on, you get some beeping going, and you're ready to rock and roll. You'll kind of see the gimbal do some minor adjustments to see if it's level or not, and then it's ready to go. You can go through the different modes by clicking the joystick itself. And when you click it once, it actually goes to my favorite setting, which is like a follow mode. And to me, it's the smoothest mode because you're able to really move around. You can move this gimbal up and down, left or right, and the camera's pretty much going to stay in place. The joystick also functions as a panning motion. You can go left or right or up and down, and it's a really cool way to be able to do that. Also, if you twist the handle, it's going to follow the direction that you twist at. So this is where you're going to actually have to get a lot of good practice when you're walking around. When you twist the handle, it's going to twist the entire thing. So make sure that you're keeping it straight if you need a straight shot. But let's say you're turning a corner, you kind of want to gently move the handle to the side. One of the tricks that I can tell you that I've learned from using this is that you don't want really any kind of jerky motions. You still want to be as smooth as possible with your movements, with your hand and also your body. So for this part of the video, I want to show you a comparison between using the gimbal and not using it, and I was actually really surprised about the dramatic difference. As you can see in this clip, I'm basically just walking straight towards this tree just for some testing purposes. I'm not trying to do anything fancy. I'm walking at a normal pace. I'm not trying to be too careful, and you can see here that the gimbal really helps stabilize and keeps the footage smooth. When I'm not using it, however, this thing is extremely shaky. It's really unusable footage. So what that let me know is that if I'm going to use this lens that I have on the camera at the moment, which is that zoom lens, I'm definitely going to have to use this gimbal to keep everything nice and smooth. As you can see from watching the comparison, it's really important to have something like this for a particular lens like what I have on the camera. Even if the lens does have that built-in stabilization, this adds just another level of stabilization that really helps make your footage really nice and smooth. One of my favorite things about this gimbal is that it's one of the lowest priced ones that you can get, and I'll leave a link down below in the description if you want to pick one up for yourself. This is one of those products that I've really wanted to have ever since I started making videos, and especially when I saw them in action. Maxley had one at the Honor 8 launch event. I was really impressed with the capabilities that a gimbal gives you. I'm starting a videography business on the side, and this is going to be one of those essential tools to have, especially for doing wedding videos, promotional videos, and just other different kind of video projects that I'll be doing. I'm really looking forward to putting this to more use. I hope that this setup and review video was helpful to you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and also hit that notification bell so you don't miss any more videos that I put out. Share this with your favorite social networks, and until then, stay techie.